Welcome to the Psychology of Gambling, the podcast from Mind Over Odds, where we believe if you control your emotions, you control your outcomes.
Yeah, and today we're talking about a feeling that I think literally everyone listening has experienced at some point. Like, imagine you are standing at a convenience store counter, right? You're scratching a lottery ticket.
Oh, I know this feeling well.
Right. You get the first match, then the second match. Your pulse starts to pick up a bit.
You're practically holding your breath by the third one.
Exactly. And then you scratch that final box, and you miss a massive jackpot by just a single solitary number.
Ugh, it is just the worst.
It really is. Or, even on a more everyday level, you're rushing to work, you see the traffic light ahead of you is green, so you press the gas pedal just a little bit harder to make it.
And right as you reach the intersection, it turns red.
Boom, red light. You miss making the light by literally a fraction of a second. It is that agonizing, gut-wrenching, I almost had it feeling that just sits heavy in your stomach.
Yeah, and today we are unpacking exactly why that happens. We're doing a deep dive into what we call the almost win trap or the near-miss effect. We really want to explore why our brains are hardwired to mistake these very specific types of failures for successes, and how understanding this biological glitch can help you regain emotional control in high-risk situations.
Because it really is a powerful glitch, right? Like, when you miss that lottery ticket by one number, you don't actually feel like you lost.
Not at all.
Your brain processes it as if you're somehow closer to winning than the person who didn't match any numbers at all, even though mathematically you both walk away with $0.
Right, mathematically it's the exact same outcome. But biologically, your brain is treating those two identical financial outcomes completely differently.
So why is that? What's going on under the hood there?
Well, we have to look at how the brain processes rewards. And that points directly to the dopamine system. There's this super common misconception that dopamine is simply the pleasure chemical that it's the reward itself.
Right, you hear that everywhere. Dopamine hit, dopamine rush.
Exactly. But from a neurological standpoint, dopamine is actually an expectation engine. It operates on something psychologists call prediction error.
Okay, prediction error. What does that mean for us in everyday terms?
So our brains are constantly trying to predict what's going to happen next. If an outcome is better than we predicted, we get a dopamine spike. If it's worse, the dopamine levels drop.
Okay, that makes sense.
And that drop is a crucial biological signal. It tells the brain, hey, whatever strategy we just used didn't work. Let's abandon it and try something else.
Wait, so dopamine isn't the reward itself, it's just like the hype man telling you you're about to get paid.
Yes, that is a perfect analogy. It's the hype man.
Yeah.
But a near miss fundamentally breaks that feedback loop. When you experience a near miss, your brain activates the exact same reward pathways as if you had just won.
You're kidding. The exact same pathways.
The exact same. The visual and auditory cues of being so close to a win basically trick the brain into generating a positive prediction error. The dopamine system fires off a false positive signal, basically screaming, we are on the right track. We almost have it.
Wow. So the hype man is just completely misreading the room.
Completely.
Yeah.
Instead of letting the dopamine drop so you can logically walk away from a loss, the near miss validates your strategy. It practically demands that you try again.
And I imagine doing that over and over has some kind of compounding effect, right?
Oh, absolutely. Over time, chasing this false rush builds up a tolerance. The nervous system becomes overstimulated, the receptors start to numb out, and you require bigger and bigger risks just to feel that baseline level of anticipation.
That's wild. And since the brain is signaling this false victory, how does the body physically react to that confusion? I mean, I know I get tense.
It's a very real physical roller coaster. Think about the suspense phase, like when the roulette wheel is spinning, or you're waiting for that final lottery number. During that specific window, your heart rate actually drops dramatically.
Wait, really? It drops. I would totally expect my heart rate to speed up during suspense.
It feels completely counterintuitive, right? But the heart rate drop is actually an evolutionary freeze response. The body is slowing down to focus all of its sensory attention on the incoming result. It's this intense, hyper-focused state of anticipation.
Oh, wow. Like a predator watching its prey right before it pounces.
Exactly like that. But then, the exact moment the near miss registers, the moment the brain processes the failure, the heart rate spikes massively. Your hands start to sweat, your skin conductivity changes, and a huge surge of adrenaline and norepinephrine floods the system.
So that's why people always say time literally feels like it slows down for a second when they almost win.
Yes, the brain is taking in an overwhelming amount of sensory data, trying to process the sudden gap between expectation and reality. And that biological whiplash connects to something called Amsel's frustration theory.
Frustration theory, that
Yeah.
sounds intense.
It is, but the core idea is simple. Basically, when we expect a reward and we don't get it, the resulting emotional frustration doesn't cause us to give up. Paradoxically, it acts as a massive energizer.
Oh, I see. So it gives us a burst of physical arousal to push harder.
Right. Think of it from an evolutionary standpoint. If an animal is trying to crack open a nut and fails, a surge of frustration energy gives it the strength to bite down harder on the next try. It's an adaptive mechanism designed to overcome physical obstacles.
But if you apply that to, say, a modern casino or a stock trading app, there is no physical obstacle to bite down on.
Exactly. So that frustration energy is converted directly into aggressive risk-taking. You bet faster. You push harder on the very next try.
Which is so interesting because usually when you actually win a game or finish a big task at work, you want to take a break. Like you feel satisfied and you just want to step back.
Right, that's what we call the post-reward reset. Actual winning kills motivation briefly because the tension dissolves, you feel satisfied.
But a near miss bypasses that entirely.
Completely bypasses it. Because you don't get the actual reward, you never get the biological relief. You're just left with all this frustration energy, trapped at maximum velocity, putting in maximum effort, because the finish line always feels like it's just 1 inch away.
That is genuinely terrifying when you think about it, because
Yeah.
these biological and physical forces are completely invisible. Like they kick in within fractions of a second, and they can easily overpower our logical thinking. It is incredibly easy to get swept away without even realizing your nervous system has been hijacked.
It really is. And if you or someone you know struggles with compulsive or problem gambling, free help is available 24 hours a day by calling 1-800-GAMBLER. We also highly encourage you to go to the Mind Over Odds website www.mindoverodds.com to gain more insights in emotional control while gambling and in other high-risk areas of life.
Because honestly, falling into this trap isn't a character flaw. It's literally millions of years of evolutionary biology running headfirst into modern design.
Which brings us to the really insidious part of this conversation. Modern games are specifically designed to exploit this exact biological vulnerability.
Right, like digital slot machines and mobile games, they don't just leave near misses up to chance anymore.
Not at all. They deliberately manufacture them. They use virtual reels and algorithms to ensure that the jackpot symbols land just above or just below the pay line, right in your line of sight, way more often than pure probability would dictate.
Oh, that's so manipulative.
But the most aggressive tactic they use is something called losses, disguised as wins.
Losses disguised as wins. How does that work?
Imagine you're playing a digital slot machine and you wager $1. The reels spin, and the machine congratulates you on winning 25 cents.
Okay, but mathematically, I just lost 75 cents.
Right, it's a net loss.
Yeah.
But the machine celebrates that outcome with the exact same flashing lights, triumphant sounds, and visual fanfare as if you had hit the grand prize.
Oh, wow.
Mhm.
So your conscious, logical brain knows you lost money?
But your subconscious reward center, that dopamine expectation engine, is completely overwhelmed by the sensory feedback. The bells and the visual stimulation are calibrated to trigger a positive prediction error. The brain gets tricked into feeling the emotional high of a winner, which creates this profound illusion of control.
That illusion of control is so dangerous. And it happens because our brains are basically pattern recognition machines, right?
Yes, exactly. We are wonderfully evolved for pattern recognition in skill-based tasks. If you're shooting a basketball and the ball bounces off the front of the rim, that near miss is useful. It tells your brain to adjust your wrist slightly on the next shot.
Because you actually are getting closer to mastery. The next shot will be better.
Right. But in games of pure chance, every event is totally independent. A near miss on a digital reel has absolutely zero predictive value for the next spin.
So basically bringing our pattern-seeking brain to a slot machine is like trying to use a map of New York to navigate London.
That is a brilliant way to put it.
The tool is great, it's a perfectly good map, but it's completely useless for the environment you're actually in. And worse, it gives you the false confidence that if you just keep following the map, you'll eventually find your way.
Exactly. But it's important to realize this mental trap doesn't just apply to gambling. It alters how we perceive our own achievements and satisfaction in our daily lives.
Oh, for sure. It affects everything.
There's this fascinating psychological concept called the silver medal paradox, which looks at Olympic athletes.
Okay, the silver medal paradox, I think I've heard of this. Objectively, silver is better than bronze.
Objectively, it's incredible. You are the second best in the entire world. Yet when psychologists analyze facial expressions in interviews, they consistently find that silver medalists are noticeably unhappier than bronze medalists.
Which is wild. Why are they so unhappy?
It comes down to something called counterfactual thinking, our brain's ability to imagine alternate realities. The silver medalist engages in upward comparison. They are tortured by the single tiny step that separated them from gold.
Ah, so it's the ultimate near miss.
Exactly. Their brain just loops the thought, if I had just swam a fraction of a second faster, I would be the champion.
Whereas the bronze medalist is doing, what, downward comparison?
Yes. The bronze medalist is just relieved they didn't finish fourth and missed the podium entirely. Their near miss was almost going home empty-handed. So they feel immense relief and happiness.
That makes total sense. We do this in everyday life all the time. Like if you miss a flight by a full hour, you're annoyed, but you accept it. The plane is gone. But if you sprint through the terminal and miss the flight by 60 seconds, like you literally watch the gate agent close the door.
It's emotionally agonizing.
It really is, because your brain won't stop imagining the alternate reality where you just didn't stop for coffee or you ran just a little bit faster.
Right. It creates this massive, unresolved psychological tension.
So knowing all this, how do we fight back? Like, are there extremely simple daily habits we can use to fight these intense biological urges?
There are a few highly practical self-regulation strategies. The very first step, and this sounds almost too simple, but it's crucial, is to explicitly name the outcome.
Name it out loud.
Out loud. When you experience a near miss and feel that rush of frustration energy, you have to say out loud, this is a loss.
What does saying it out loud actually do?
It engages your logical prefrontal cortex. When you're caught in the flashing lights or the frustration of a near miss, the emotional subconscious parts of your brain are running the show. Speaking aloud breaks that spell and forces your brain to acknowledge objective reality.
Okay, so name it to tame it. I like that. What's next?
The 5-minute pause. We talked about how a near miss causes a massive spike in heart rate and adrenaline.
Yeah.
You literally cannot make a rational decision while your body is flooded with that level of physical arousal.
So you physically step away.
Yes, physically step away for 5 minutes. It allows your heart rate and sweat levels to return to their baseline. It stops those impulsive, frustration-driven decisions in their tracks.
That makes a ton of sense. Just letting the chemicals clear out.
Exactly. And the third habit is adopting the bronze medal mindset. When you catch yourself torturing yourself over a perceived near miss, you have to consciously pivot, consciously choose to focus on what you have achieved, rather than draining your mental energy on what you narrowly missed.
Basically fighting that upward comparison with downward comparison.
You got it. And finally, you have to actively work to restore your baseline. The near miss trap drains your dopamine reserves. To combat that, you need to engage in slow, natural activities.
Like what? What's a slow activity?
Go for a walk in a green space. Listen to music without checking your phone. Connect with a friend. These slow-release activities provide natural dopamine and help your brain find genuine satisfaction in reality again.
Which is so much healthier than just chasing that artificial manufactured rush. You know, it's really empowering to understand the actual machinery behind all this. And I want to leave everyone listening with one final thought to mull over. Start looking around your daily life and notice how many apps, loyalty programs, or digital experiences are quietly manufacturing near misses just to keep your attention.
Oh, they are everywhere.
They really are. Next time you feel that agonizing urge to try just one more time, take a step back. Ask yourself if you're actually getting closer to a goal or if your biology is just being hacked.
If you found this conversation helpful today, please follow and like the show or leave us a 5-star review. It helps more people in our community find these resources. You can also visit the Mind Over Oz YouTube channel for more psychology-based insights on gambling behavior. We'll talk to you next time. Control your emotions. Control your outcomes.